Wayne-Westland Community School Board Meeting of Education is now brought to order on Monday, October 16, 2017 at 7 p.m. On behalf of the Board of Education, I would like to welcome each and every one of you. Your attendance this evening reflects your interest in public education and is greatly appreciated. So at this time, we have two students from Taft Galloway Elementary School to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Would Lord Fox Jr. and Kristen Weber please come forward?
Pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, you two, come if you stand right here. Ms. Hines is going to read your bios to everyone, okay?
My name is Christian Weber. I am in the first grade at Taft Galloway Elementary School. My teacher's name is Miss Goman. My family includes my dad, my dad's girlfriend, Heather, Jaden, and my mom. My favorite thing to do at school is play at recess. When I'm at home, I like to watch movies, play on my tablet, and play with the toys in my room. I also like to go to the beach and swim.
How do you know that?
Okay. And next we have, my name is Lord Fox Jr. I am in the fourth grade at Taft Galloway Elementary School. My teacher's name is Miss Weber. My family includes my mom and dad and my big brother Julius and my little brothers Elijah and Donay. My favorite thing to do at school is to write. When I'm at home, I like to play tag, video games, and I like to climb stuff.
Thank you. So if you'll stand up, Mrs. Medell has something for you from the Board of Education for joining us this evening.
Can I get you guys to turn around? So you can face everybody? All right. Lord Fox Jr. I have for you a certificate of appreciation and recognition for your skills and expertise coming here today to do the pledge at our Board of Education meeting. Did you bring anybody special with you today? Very good. And we have Christian Weber. We have a certificate for you also of recognition and accommodation for your skills and expertise in doing the pledge. Did you bring somebody special with you today? And? Dr. Scope, thank you. All right, so we want to thank you very much. Mrs. Johnson, who's standing over there by the coffee pot, is going to take you out in the hallway, and she's going to take some pictures with you, and if your family would like to join you, and Dr. Schofield too, they'll be glad to take your pictures. Good job.
Thank you for joining us. And you're, like I said, you don't have to worry about trying to come back in. You're more than welcome to stay, but if you need to go, you can. Thank you. We'll give Mrs. Medell a chance to get back up, and then we'll move on with the agenda. Let's do the roll call vote while we're waiting. Item number 19018, roll call. Ms. Hines.
Mr. Buckaloo,
Present.
Dr. Weaver, Ms. Hines present, Ms. Madison,
Present.
Ms. Medell,
I'm here.
Ms. Walker.
Present.
Let the record show 6-0.
Thank you. Item number 191.18, presentation. Mr. Larson Scheidler.
Thank you, Madam President. It's my pleasure to have Tony Spizak, Gino Montaigne, and Matt Conley here tonight to review the work that they do, the excellent work that they do in our district, maintaining our buildings and the innovative ideas that they've had in the past. As you know, they are two-time Merit, MSBO Merit Award winners, going for a repeat this year, I hope. But as you've all been throughout our buildings, you know that they maintain the buildings very well. Their staff does an excellent job, and they're here tonight to highlight some
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. President Walker, members of the Board of Education, and Dr. Holt, thanks for having us tonight. We're actually pretty excited to be here, and we're all a little nervous because we're not much of public speakers. We're kind of the guys behind the curtain, you know, so don't look behind the curtain. When Mr. Larson Schuyler asked us to be here tonight, of course, we had to sit down and kind of go through some ideas of what to present. And I called Sue, and I said, Sue, I got 300 slides. They're going to be awesome for tonight. She said I had 5 minutes. So, it's a little shorter than 300.
Thank you, Sue.
You know, at the beginning of every school year, I'm asked, and I'm sure Matt and Gina are asked the same question by our staff and students. You know, they want to know what we did all summer and how we enjoyed our time off. Believe it or not, summer's probably our busiest time. It's when we do all our capital improvements, we do our major constructions, we do all our PM. And I have to tell you, before I get into the slides, the maintenance and operations staff here in Wayne-Westland is probably one of the finest in the state of Michigan. The people that I work with every day, day in and day out that we work with, they make our jobs that much easier. We have a wonderful staff. So, and it seems just like yesterday we were going through the bond renovations. In fact, they were 19 years ago. So as you can imagine, the carpet, the floor tile, it's tired. The buildings look great. We put a lot of wax and we put a lot of elbow grease into it, but they're tired. But on a good note, the community has been so kind and gracious to give us a sinking fund so we can do some fabulous things still. But most of those things are behind the scenes and a lot of people don't see them. So tonight, on this short presentation, you'll get to see those things. So with the help of our district architect, our construction manager, and our engineers and our staff, we'd like to present some of the highlights that happened this past summer. So I'm going to start with the sinking fund project. On the picture on the left is the boilers over at Adams Upper Elementary. Excuse me. They were put in 1967, and as you can see on the side on the right, we have 3 new high-efficiency boilers that were put in this summer. We also replaced the domestic hot water boiler, which was installed in 1971 with new high-efficiency Lochinvar domestic hot boiler and a new mixing valve. The boiler room over at Adams received new lighting, LEDs, and the floors and the ceilings and the walls were painted. It truly looks nice now. Over at Stevenson Middle School, we replaced the chiller. The chiller was installed back in 1995 with a performance bond. It had seen better days. We replaced it with a new state-of-the-art chiller. On the side of that photo is not just a picture of a computer. There actually is a tablet built right into the side of the chiller. We also, over there, replaced all the pumps. The one on the left is the old circulating pump. There's like 4 of them over there. And now we have new pumps. And again, we replaced the boilers at Stevenson with new high-efficiency boilers. And they were installed back in '95 as well with the performance contract. I do want to highlight that the majority of our boilers in all of our buildings were put in 1995. The life expectancy of them was 15 to 20 years. We are at 23 years currently. They are running well. We've had issues, but they're running well, and eventually they're going to have to be switched out. Same with the domestic hot water heaters. We replaced those over at Stevenson and painted the boiler room, put all new lighting in it, and if you get a chance and you're over there, stick your head in and take a look. It's really impressive. Stevenson's parking lot had seen better days, so it got milled and capped, so it has a nice fresh coat of asphalt. We did some sidewalk replacement over there and as well, and restriped it according to the way the building wanted it to look like now. When we were doing the parking lot, we realized that we had some tuck pointing issues at Stevenson from years of salt. You can see this corner of the building, we had to actually pull out the brick and re-brick it, and then we tuck pointed all around that back cove. Over at Wildwood Elementary, we not only remodeled the kitchen, but we expanded it. Most of our kitchens were built prior to hot lunches, so kids bagged it or they went home for lunch. So we gutted out the kitchen, expanded it into the storeroom and part of the music room. And put in a brand new state-of-the-art commercial kitchen. here's a picture of what the music room looks like now. We notched out a little cove. That's where the walk-in freezer actually sits in the kitchen, where you see that little cove. And then currently, we are working on a 7 bus drop-off on Annapolis in front of Franklin. I'm hoping that to be completed by the end of next week. They're supposed to pour the curbs this Thursday. So that actually will be a really nice addition to Franklin. Currently, the buses and the staff and parents kind of all mingle in the parking lot, so this will get them separated.
This year I was lucky enough to do a few renovations LED-wise. The big problem we always had near graduation was always overheating Wayne Memorial. When we had the auditorium, all the kids were in there, we had so much the French fry light bulbs, I like to call them, for heat. They provide great light, but they were also put out a ton of heat, so I had to lower the set point. When I did a heck of a renovation, we were able to drop the wattage over almost 19,000 watts, which in turn will be hands-on, no maintenance for hopefully near 10 years. If they go quicker than that, we get a little rebate on that. Plus, DTE provided us over $4,600 in rebates, which was kind of nice because we turned that money, rolled that into, next slide please, some LED lighting for the parking lot out here in front of Dyer and behind. Also, once again, once all of our maintenance staff was done with my 2 electricians in-house, John Collop, he took care of installing all of our LED fixtures himself, which in turn will be 10 years without maintenance, which is half our problem right now with a lot of our aging fixtures in our buildings, and I'd love to spend more time and money doing more retrofits around the district, and if we move forward with the bond, that's where I want to go. Thank you.
Gino also provided you with his yearly energy conservation report. You have it in front of you now. Some other projects that we had this past summer over at Stevenson, we have a student in a wheelchair. And as you can see on the far left is the original Bradley sinks. I know, Carol, you worked over there. Bradley's, you have to step on them to get the water. So Pohai came to us and asked if we could get a different sink in there. And the Bradley's, actually, the plumbing comes up through the floor. So we reworked that wall, put a new handicap or ADA sink in with a motion sensor faucet. At the alternative ed program, the Tinkham Center over at Wayne Memorial, the staff did not have a staffed restroom. But they did have a lounge, so we took a portion of the lounge and we put in a bathroom for them. So they were very pleased to have their own facility. Wayne Memorial, the kitchen equipment that was in the kitchen was from 1952, the ovens and the flat tops. Food service had some money, so they got with us and we demoed out the old equipment. And when we did, we realized we had a gas smell over there, and we found that this pipe that ran between the floor had a little crack in it, which was causing a little problem with natural gas. So we popped the pipe out, replaced it, and installed all the new equipment over there, as you can see from the photo. Head Start over at Walker received a new playground equipment, thanks to you folks for approving that. We also added some equipment over at Stottlemyre. Catch basin repair, you may not know, but throughout the year, the catch basins, they get damaged, the bricks come out, and they have to be rebuilt. We probably do between 15 and 20 a year throughout the district. Sidewalk repairs, this one actually was a repair and a replacement. We added sidewalks over at Hamilton because where the kids lined up, they were standing in the mud. Concrete repairs, as you can see, the grandstands at Wayne Memorial had received some damage. We had to saw cut that out and replace it. And then water main breaks. Throughout the winter, occasionally we have a couple of water main breaks. This one, the pipe actually runs underneath the high school, between the industrial arts wing and the main building. And this past summer, after we did the repair in the winter, we came back and fixed the wall. Tile repairs. This tile was put in 1981. They no longer make it. So we try to get as close as we could to it, but throughout the building, you can see just wear and tear. The tile needs to be replaced. And then infrastructure. I know the average age of our facilities are 58 years. We do a really good job. The maintenance and custodial department do a really good job in maintaining them and keeping them clean. But unfortunately, they are deteriorating in places that no one else can see. The pipe on the left is the heating line at Marshall Upper Elementary. it sprung a leak back in the spring. We isolated the heating line, and then we had to replace it, of course. That heating line, the wall is usually about a 1/4 inch thick. This is less than a 16th inch from just years of water going through it, just hot water. But to get to that pipe, we had to actually bust through the floor. There are some hatches, I guess, manholes that you can open up and stick your head in, but there's no man or person or woman that can get in that hole, nor will we let them because it's confined space. So we actually busted the floor up in the band room and in the auditorium area at Marshall. And then we decided that the best bet would be is to run those heating lines out of the floor up into the ceiling where we could access them. So we ran quite a bit of new heating line, re-insulated it, pressurized it, and now we have heat in the cafeteria, the band room, and some other areas over at that particular building. And that was all in-house. That was our plumber did all that. He's a pretty well, amazing plumber. Over at John Glenn, we had a sewage line that was leaking in the boys' restroom across from counseling that had been leaking for many, many years. It's in a small crawl space, and that sewage line actually rotted out the heating line. The picture on the left is the office that is adjacent to the restroom. We actually cut through that floor to access the heating line, and then we ran that heating line back up and across the ceiling and reconnected it so the building could have heat. And then we fixed the sewage line while we were doing all that. We do a lot of PM, preventive maintenance. Actually, Matt's in charge of PM. He sends out work orders to our staff. For instance, the head custodian at Adams would get a work order and would say, go and check this or go do this. This PM was to check the lunchroom tables. The custodian over at this particular building checked one of the tables and it was loose in the wall. So we went to investigate what the problem was, and we pulled the table out. What we found behind the pocket is that that wall had deteriorated, had come apart. So we decided the best bet would be to remove all 4 pocket tables, clean all that up. As you can see, the new timbers that have been put in, and then remount the tables back in so they were secure. And then summer cleaning. One of the things that we do every summer is we do a deep cleaning of all our facilities. We extract the carpet. Obviously, we wax and scrub and wax the halls. All the furniture and walls get cleaned. HVAC equipment gets PM'd. That means new filters. They vacuum out the cavities, the grease, the oil. They do all the things that need to be done. And then we put the buildings back together for the students to come back in, and much, much more. And I can't tell you enough. I know I'm talking fast. I can't tell you enough. The staff that we have, they do a fabulous job, which is my wife always says fabulous. But they really, truly do. I'm proud to work with the team that I have and the folks that are out there doing all the hard work for us. So in a nutshell, that was our summer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Everything was really good. Any questions or comments from the?
I have a comment. I sent Tony an email this weekend to let him know that on Thursday night I did a tour for my alumni graduate friends, and it had been 50 years for some of them to be in the building. And yes, I showed them all of the things that had been added since they left, but they were looking very closely at the building and were amazed at a building with its age, how well maintained, how clean it was, how friendly the staff was. They were so impressed and made comments at the time, but then also posted comments on Facebook too about how much they were impressed with the building. And that is a tribute to not only our custodial staff that works every day, but also the staff that comes in and helps during the summer too. And then there's also the administration that makes sure the kids clean up as much as possible.
Thank you, Mrs. Vidal. I shared that with our staff, and they were very pleased. Thank you very much.
Credit due to all of the people involved in maintaining that building. It is well maintained, as is all of our buildings.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
You have a very smart wife, and it's all fabulous. I'm certain that your summer didn't feel that fabulous, but it looks fabulous.
I don't think I've ever used fabulous before. So.
And I like to say I'm impressed as well. My son, he goes to Stevenson. I've seen the repairs to the roof and a lot of different things in the building. So it's really nice to be able to come to a nice, clean, safe environment.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate your presentation tonight and even more so, the report that we received in our packets this week. And I would just like to mention a couple of things that I found in the packet that kind of wowed me. And perhaps people who haven't had a chance to see that might be interested in hearing that you folks do something like 8,000, on an average of 8,000 work orders a year,
Yes.
in addition to your regularly scheduled maintenance?
We receive between 25 and 50 work orders a day, every day. Saturday and Sunday they come in, every day. It's all online, so the principals and the secretaries and the custodians can write work orders whenever they want. And believe it or not, our folks, when they're at home, and Tav is my witness, can say, you know, oh, shoot, I forgot to write that work order. They do it. They do it.
And in addition to all of that, you've been able to reduce maintenance costs for this year by 9%?
9%.
That is fantastic. That truly is.
I actually have to
special.
credit Jim on that. Jim has challenged us with priority budget to reduce our budget every year, and we have, I think, over the last 3 or 4 years with priority budgeting, have reduced it 10 years. But you know, it varies, and we have these discussions all the time. You know, as long as things are going well, you're okay. But he assures me that if we need money, it's there. So, but yes, 9%.
That's super.
Thank you.
You guys are great. You know that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night, guys.
Thank you. You
Good
too.
job.
Moving on to item number 192.18, citizen comments, agenda items only. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item number 193.18, consent agenda. At this time, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Madell, supported by Dr. Weaver. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Madell?
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Ms. Hines, yes. Ms. Madison?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
Let the record show 6-0.
Thank you. Motion passes. Moving on to item number 194.18, review and approval of human resource items. Mrs. Bolt.
Thank you, Madam President. Tonight I'm requesting board ratification of the tentative agreement reached with the WWEA Adult and Early Childhood Education on September 8th, 2017. The terms and conditions of the proposed 2-year successor agreement address 3 priority areas. There are editorial changes to reflect programming changes, which were a result of the changes approved by the Board of Education last year. So the bargaining group now represents only adult and early childhood education teachers. The contract has been updated to reflect these programming changes. Retention of staff. A retention bonus of $500 will be paid to each AECE educator in January, both years of this 2-year agreement, and also flexibility in recognition of grant funding limitations. Language has been added to provide for changes in benefit plans or changes in the amount employees will pay for benefit plans to allow our various grant-funded programs to operate within the funding received from the grant. Without this flexible change in language, some grant-funded programs may have required general fund dollars to offset the escalating costs in health care. WWEA AECE members ratified the tentative agreement the week of October 2nd, and if ratified by the Board of Education tonight, the agreement will be effective immediately and will expire on August 31st, 2019.
Thank you, Ms. Bolt. At this time, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Madell, supported by Dr. Weaver. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Madison?
Yes.
Ms. Madell?
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Ms. Hines? Yes. Ms. Walker?
Yes.
Let the record show 6-0.
Thank you. Motion carries. Item number 195.18, Head Start Monthly Report. Mrs. Madell.
As required by the federal government, all of the Board of Trustees on this school board have received a copy of the monthly financial report in your board packet on October 10th, 2017. The information on the September Head Start monthly report has not been finalized as of yet, and we will expect that in the November agenda and in your packet. If you have any questions about any of the programming that's going on over there, please see me because I have the director's report.
Thank you. At this time, I'll take a motion to accept the August 2017 Head Start report.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Buckaloo,
Second.
second by Ms. Madell. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Hines, yes. Ms. Madison?
Yes.
Ms. Madell?
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver? Ms. Walker?
Yes.
Let the record show 6-0.
Thank you. Motion carries. Item number 196.18, Superintendent Report. Dr. Holt.
So I wanted to give an update on what we've done so far with my arrival here, and I wanted to start by thanking everyone. This has been a very warm welcome to the Wayne-Westland School District. From the many board members that I've met, everyone sitting at this table, who we've had many conversations about the vision and mission of where we're going with our instructional program and with our community input. I want to thank Dr. Harmala, my predecessor, for spending time with me and really helping me to understand the full scope of what's happening here in Wayne-Westland. There are many people that I've met with over the course of the last 3 weeks, is the beginning of my 4th week here in Wayne-Westland, who have just really been welcoming. I want to first of all start by thanking Sue and Cheryl, who have really helped to with the transition within our office and ensuring that I'm meeting with everyone and getting my schedule together as I'm looking at my schedule and realizing how much we've been doing. I also want to acknowledge all of our union member presidents and vice presidents that I've met with to try to understand a little bit more about their perspective and what it is that we can do for them moving forward. I want to thank Mary from our senior center and how she's been very welcoming, not only with helping me understand the senior center, but also with bringing our folks in for the choice work. Our choice work right now that's happening is really critical to our strategic plan. It's also critical to what we're doing moving forward. And my hope is that everyone is able to, at some point, be involved in one of the choice work meetings. We have choice work meetings that are happening at every single school site, and I'm working to get to as many of those as possible. We have them so far with our superintendent's steering committee. We have them at John Glenn, Marshall, Stevenson, the Senior Center, and today at Edison. And our teachers have been very vocal in sharing all of their thoughts around the first part of the choice work and understanding how the choice work eventually will lead to what we're working for with the bond measure that we will need in order to continue with business as we've planned. I want to thank the staffs at Taft Galloway, Hamilton, Glenn, Hicks, and Wayne Memorial. Those are the schools that I have spent some significant time with, meeting with the principals, walking classrooms, and meeting everyone that's here in our district. Our teachers are doing amazing work in the classrooms. All of our classrooms our school sites are absolutely beautiful, and that is the work of an entire community coming together. We have a lot of hard-working people here in Wayne-Westland, and as I continue to visit the school sites, I am thoroughly impressed by what we've been doing and how hardworking our folks are. I also want to thank part of our staff. We've been doing a rollout right now of our online professional development, and I was able to see one of those presentations of Edivate from our instructional staff, and they did an amazing job letting our principals know what the information was that they needed to know, as well as moving our teachers in to this direction with online learning. As we move forward with online learning, not just for our kids, but also our teachers, it's going to require a lot of infrastructure and a lot of shifts in how we do things. And we're starting those shifts very strategically and purposefully. I also want to thank our folks. I have attended quite a few events this week. I was able to go to the Powder Puff game at John Glenn, which at first I was kind of going, uh-oh, because we know some of the things that could happen with Powder Puff, but it was absolutely awesome to see our kids and families come out and support an amazing purpose there at Powder Puff. I was also able to go to the homecoming games at John Glenn and Wayne and see our band performances last Monday, our swim meets at John Glenn. That was my first swim meet, and it was an amazing experience to see the girls' senior night at the swim meet. And also was able to go to the YMP luncheon and meet our YMP students that are at Henry Ford. All of that being said, there's a lot going on here in Wayne-Westland, and it's going to take me some time to really get behind the thinking of everything that's going on and really understand it to be able to make strategic decisions. And I really appreciate everyone just being patient a bit as we learn as I get around to everyone, because there's only so many hours in a day, so I can get to all the school sites. At this point, I think I'm scheduled to finish the school site visits around mid-November, and then I'll be able to give get a more robust understanding of the district. Something I did want to bring up, and I know it was in your packets, is the shift in our 31A funding. And so we're working with the state on that. I wanted to make sure that anyone who is listening understands that there have been some shifts, and we are working with the state, as well as a few superintendents within the state are working together to ensure that our neediest students are receiving the funding that they need or deserve. And so we're still in progress on those. Finally, I also want to thank our friends that came from Inkster today and know that we are all partners in this work. Two more things is Mayor Wild. I did meet with Mayor Wild, and he is very, very complimentary of our district and wants to partner with us. And the last people I really want to acknowledge is our communications team. I watched a team of people that came when we did our first choice work meeting. We realized that we needed to do some work on the why and make sure folks understood why we were doing this work. What does it mean? And in a matter of less than a week, they were able to put together an amazing video and an online version that came out of our communications team, which was extremely impressive, because to see things go from an idea that is for the needs of our students and staff to actually fruition and in doing it very seamless was extremely impressive. So thank you, Ms. Bowling, your team, for that, because that was, and I think it's really helped folks to understand why we need to do what we need to do, and we have a very short timeline to do it and what it will mean for our future impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. Moving on to item number 197.18, citizen comments, non-agenda items. Seeing none, moving on to item number 198.18, review and recommendations, Board of Education. We'll start with Mrs. Madison.
I just got a little note I'll go ahead and read off to make it easier. As a member who served on the Strategic Planning Core Guiding Team and the Policies and Procedures Committee, I would like to recommend that the Policy and Procedures Committee meet to discuss a process so that we could see where we are in the strategic plan, where we are going, and a process with updates, along with how we can best assist to serve our new superintendent with the strategic plan and the process to keep that moving forward.
Anything else you want to add, or just
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Hines?
Thank you. There was a great presentation today. I'm really excited about where our district is moving. I was also excited to see on the news how they showed John Glenn, the police officers, cheering with the cheerleaders. That was so awesome. You know, to see like the camaraderie, I can't even pronounce it, camaraderie in our community. So I'm really excited about that. And like you said too, with the strategic planning committee, I've had several people in the community come to me about having some information given to the students, because I know we changed the policy about the flyers and stuff, so we have to figure out a way to get more information out to the community about events that's happening, because I just received something from City Hall. They're having, for the kids, and it's free, it's going to be at the Westland City Hall Wednesday, October the 25th, from 5:30 to 7:30, and it's like a Halloween event for the family. So just little things like that for people can do that doesn't cost any money. And also, a lot of people, I'm trying to work on different scholarships. So being an alumni at Saginaw Valley, I've talked to admissions, and they said they have some competitive scholarships. And if anyone was a graduate of Saginaw Valley State University, they have a $1,000 scholarship opportunity for children of people who were alumni. So we're working on some different programs, because my goal is I want to see kids succeed. I want to have them have scholarships, opportunities. Right now I'm working with the Inkster Police Department, the Westland Police Department, and with the Kiwanis, and we're trying to figure out after-school programs, something that doesn't cost money to the district, something that's, you know, we need mentors and people who have heart that care about the children. So I'm really excited about that. And the Rotary as well, just different organizations that help kids with scholarships and money for school. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you, Ms. Hines. Dr. Weaver?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I would like to take this opportunity at our first meeting, welcome Dr. Holt to the district. And may you be here many years. And I'm sure you'll do a great job. Also, just like to say thank you to Tony Spisak and his staff for the incredible work they do in the district. Thank you. That's my comment.
Thank you, Dr. Weaver. Mr. Buffalo?
Yes, homecoming was, as always, a blast. We had a good time on the parade. The maintenance report is outstanding. I've already expressed my views on that. Mrs. Medell and I had an opportunity to travel to Lansing last week for Michigan Association of School Boards presentation that they titled Behind the Scenes, and we got to look at how the legislature operates. Yeah, there's something to that old saw about you might enjoy the sausage, but you don't want to see how it's made. Things are a little bit messy in Lansing. Which brings me to this point. In the Senate in Lansing, they're discussing a bill that would transfer enhancement millage money from the school districts that are originally currently receiving it to charter schools, so that charters would be included with the traditional schools program. And that troubles me somewhat, particularly since, and I have to qualify this, I'm not an expert on election law, but the ballot proposal that we all voted on a year ago or a year or so ago stated that that certain school districts would be receiving funding. And it seems to me that if we now change that understanding and include charters with those schools that appeared on the ballot, that we're probably not really honoring the will of the voters. And I hope that that's a correct interpretation, and that the Senate sees that they're heading in the wrong direction and changes that. Had a good time in Lansing, and it was well worth the trip.
Thank you, Mr. Buffalo.
No, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mrs. Medell?
And I was very impressed with the way MASB handled it, because it wasn't partisan. It was very bipartisan. And we got to see different and varying opinions, but the people who were part of the panel discussion had been on their local school board before coming to the House of Representatives. So they brought a different perspective than somebody coming from a business background or a military background or wherever. They had all served their school districts very faithfully as members. So that helped a lot, because then they could understand our needs more clearly. I got a chance to go to Tech Trek at Career Tech last week, and they made me hammer nails. And I told them I'm better with a hammer on demolition. But I wasn't the fastest person to pound a nail into a board, but it did go in straight. So they were very impressed. But the kids were out there, they were having a great time. There were different stations for them to go to and perform different skills, and everybody had a good time, including the staff. I want to thank our people who have donated to our school district. As always, we can't do it without you. We need your help and support from community people like the Michigan Assembly Plant and St. Mary's. We really do appreciate when people from the community give to our school district. And then again with the reunion, with the comments about the cleanliness and the condition of John Glenn, when the football game came on Friday, Bud Somerville came over to my group, who were all wearing matching shirts, by the way. So, yeah, that was our class colors, because I did get questioned about, I thought John Glenn's colors were red, white, and blue, and I said, well, they are, but our class color was green and white. And they were all sitting together and came over and asked if any of them had been part of the football team when they were at John Glenn, and a couple of them had. He pulled one of the people out of the stands and let him be the honorary captain of the football game for the evening. Now, the class of 77 was also there, but he didn't approach them, just our class. So it made the event even more special. And I can't thank Don Loomis enough for his help and cooperation in helping me put the planetarium together, and also making sure that they were recognized during the football game, not the planetarium, I'm sorry, the tour, but making sure that they were recognized between the first and the second quarter during the football game. It just made the whole weekend special for people. And I can't thank the employees of the school district enough for recognizing that this is a good way to communicate with our alumni and our community. And I'm just so proud of our people.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. I just want to again thank Dr. Schofield for bringing from Taft Galloway for bringing our pledge leaders, Lord Fox Jr. and Christina Weber to Kristen Weber in leading us in the pledge tonight. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out and joining us this evening and taking time out your busy schedule. There's so many other things that you could possibly do, but you continuously come back and spend it with us, and we appreciate that. At this time, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Weaver.
Second.
Dr. Weaver, supported by Mr. Buckaloo. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank